So that has to have a very proper objective meaning. So think about what that actually means, dressing well. Have you heard a saying in English, all that glitters is not gold? A saying in English, you may check it out online. All that glitters is not gold. Have you heard of that saying? Do you know what that means? It is something that's taught to the most youngest of kids. Even children know that all that glitters is not gold. There's a reason why that is said. Superficial appearances and any attempt to derive meaning from it is not just illogical, it is irrational as well, because it is subject to change and it is not real. So if somebody's happiness stems from something irrational, that is a sign of faulty thinking. If it is not something that you can derive from within, and it requires the opinion of others, that is not self-worth. And to obtain self-worth is one of the most important goals of any individual. It is what provides meaning to their existence. And in the case of a school, why the concept of individual freedom is not a problem is because it is not their personal space. Do you understand the idea of privacy? Privacy, do you know what privacy means? Yes? Privacy is actually a concept of you owning your personal space. Do you have personal space in school?
No.
No, you don't. Because the school owns the space in which you are in. That is why it is not a violation of individual freedom to mandate a uniform dress code in certain places. If you don't like it, so like April, you were saying, you can leave. No one is forcing you to be there, right? That is why it applies. And in the military, it serves a very particular function. It's called discipline. Uniform dress code tends to increase discipline. And one of the reasons for why that is so is what we have been discussing for so long. Variety in clothing and using clothing to seek affirmation, these are all distracting endeavors that run counter to the concept of discipline. That is why for thousands of years, in places where it is absolutely important to maintain discipline, they have used uniform dress codes. And they've often had, and this is not something that is new. In fact, every army throughout history, they had the people maintain their uniforms at their own expense. So that's how important they considered uniform dress codes to be. It serves a purpose, and discipline, you can think about it. Remember the first prompt that you answered about chores? How doing something repeatedly tends to make you better at doing it. That is also contributing to the concept of discipline. This is another. So uniforms are often required in schools for this purpose. Now you just need to decide how to write this into a proper logical answer. What would be your first sentence? First sentence. Always remember, typically the first thing you should do in your first sentence is define the topic. In this case, you need to define what a school uniform is. What are you going to talk about? This is called building context. So write that down. First sentence, build context, define, hyphen, define topic. So write that down, take that down. This you will apply for everything. So I'll put it there in the chat. You may see it. Take it down, save it. This is how you will begin all your answers to all the topics. Okay, and now you may start doing this. Start writing the answer to this one in your docs. You require a 2-paragraph answer. Okay. All right, 6-1. Yeah, you were telling me what was your doubt?
Oh, I mean, sorry, I didn't understand what did you just ask me?
Oh, no, I thought you had something to discuss. So I told you I'll get back to you. That's why I was asking.
No, then.
Right. So do you guys know about the Apple brand following? The Apple brand following. It's an event that happened from 2005 onwards. Do you know what happened? Do you guys know that Apple as a company began way before Microsoft did? You know that, right? But do you know that once it began from the 80s, nobody, almost, I guess maybe hardly 2% of people might have bought Apple products. Everybody used Microsoft until suddenly in the 2000s, Apple came out with the iPhone, the MacBook, and then people slowly started using it. Do you know what had changed? It is called the Apple branding event. They basically made it fashionable to use Apple products. And they created a group of people, and the group started saying, oh yeah, you want to be fashionable, use Apple. I'm not kidding you. That's seriously how Apple became successful. People thought that Apple is a luxury brand and it's really awesome. It's different from everything else. And they started using it. And in reality, it was the opposite. You were basically paying a lot of money for nothing. Even today, if you were to make a comparison price by price for what you get with Apple, an Apple phone, and an equivalent phone from another company, you will see this. This is a subject. It's called brand creation. They teach you this in every business school. When you go into college, you learn business. They teach you how people manipulate consumer behavior. And this kind of, it's called sheep mentality. Have you heard that? There are 3 types of people: sheep, wolves, and shepherd dogs. Have you heard this? You can check it out online. It's an actual thing. It's not something that I invented. Correct. Herd mentality. Have you heard this concept? Yes. So people who don't use critical thinking tend to act like sheep instead of intelligent human beings. They literally follow without thinking. Okay? So it is something that you should avoid. You should have logical reasons for pretty much everything that you do. Okay? Otherwise, the potential for damage, for you getting hurt, is high. Always think objectively before doing anything. That is the purpose. Okay? So start writing. You have to write a 2-paragraph answer for this question. Come on. And if you've, by the way, one of the prime reasons behind this idea of individual freedom. So the modern world is built on the idea of the sovereignty of the individual. So the idea of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness is the foundation of Western civilization, okay? And the reason behind that is they expect an individual to be responsible for all their actions. That's very important. It's only the individual who's responsible for what they do. Okay? Now that said, This also means that one should be as independent in their life as